believe reasonable compensation is really one of the most important that a business owner may deal with. Did you know that there are really multiple ways that a business owner can take money out of their business? They can take it out as taxable dividends or distributions of profits, non-taxable distributions. They can take it out as non-taxable expense reimbursement, taxable wages. They can take it out as loans to the shareholder or repayment of loans to a shareholder. Business owners need to clearly understand that there are rules and tax ramifications of how they take money out of their business in order to avoid really unwanted tax consequences. They can accomplish different things by doing careful planning and having good documentation. There's no substitute for good documentation. But by not taking the proper measures and doing careful planning, they're really at risk of either the IRS reclassifying the way they took money out of their business, or worse yet, having the courts pierce their corporate veil. All businesses are organized in a variety of fashions. So, realizing that sole proprietors and partners, they really pay tax on their net self-employment income. So they don't get wages from the business, and they should not receive a W-2 from the business. It's so important that mechanism be in place. I'm going to focus more on businesses that are taxed as a corporation. So as I mentioned earlier, one way that a business owner can take money out of their corporation is by paying themselves reasonable compensation through wages. So you say, but what's reasonable? And here's some examples that I've had over time of what business owners have said as to how they determined how to pay themselves. And I've heard things from like, well, I need X amount of dollars to pay my bills. I've also heard, well, I only want to pay myself $7,000 because that's the maximum federal unemployment tax. And I'll just take the rest out as distributions. I've heard, well, my buddy owns a business and he pays himself X dollars. And then on the other side of the scale, I just want to pay myself up to the amount of the maximum Social Security benefits and not a penny more. Well, I have to tell you, reasonable is not determined by any of those. You may be surprised to learn that only about 12% of S corporation owners actually research and document how they've reached their decision at reasonable compensation and what that number should be. The other 78% are leaving themselves wide open for hefty fines and penalties, plus the possibility of a year's worth of back taxes, and that can hurt. So, as you may have figured out by now, determining reasonable compensation, it's not a simple process. It can take hours, it can take days just to sort through all of the legislation, the rules, the regulations, and everything that goes into planning for proper compensation or what is reasonable. So one of the areas that my firm focuses on is helping the business owner nail down that reasonable compensation amount. So we work with the business owner, we go through their job description, their duties and responsibilities, as well as other factors to help determine what's appropriate in their business and their situation and what's reasonable in their case. That way, should the IRS ever try to come back and, fine them or penalize them, accuse them, if you will, of not paying reasonable compensation, we have the supporting documentation backed by not only IRS criteria, but court rulings and over 12 million wage data points to go through those calculations with them. If we have business owners out there that have never documented their own compensation, they may be sitting on a disaster waiting to happen. And we really don't want that situation to occur. So there could be many events, facts, and circumstances that could impact their business and paying taxes. So we want them to be careful and remind them that planning here is key. So our goal at Linco Financial and Tax Services is to help the business owner keep more of what they make and save more of what they keep. So I think there's a link here to our tax planning website, and if they are interested in more information or a call so we can talk about their personalized situation, they can simply click on the link.